What I'm doing today is replacing the band on this outer CV joint on the front of the YXZ. The band is broken. It's got clipped by something and it's come off. So I'm going to take the shaft off and I'm going to clean the CV joint out, repack it, reassemble it, put a brand new band on. At the moment I've got the YXZ up in the air. As you can see, the wheel goes round. And what I've got the YXZ on is my chosen form of lift. This is supporting the underneath, and I've got it more to the front than the back, and it's lifted the front wheels up. It's massively secure on this. It ain't coming down, it's all locked off. So anybody who's playing with side-by-sides, because they are quite heavy, if you're taking wheels off, tugging, pulling, hoofing things, have them supported correctly. If you haven't got access to a lift like this, jack and jack stands, safest way to do it. So I'm going to pull the shaft off now and I'll take you through the steps. Well, after you're jacked up your side by side, next stage is get the wheel off. Now, I've already cracked the wheel nuts whilst it was on the floor, so I'm just going to whip the wheel off quickly and put the nuts somewhere safe and put the wheel somewhere safe. $19mm the wheel nuts on the YXZ. I'm going to keep my wheel out of the way down there. Right, the next thing I'm going for I'm going to crack the 32mm. I think it's 32. Yeah, it's 32. I'm hoping, I've not got a lot of hope on this one. I was hoping I might be able to get it off with a whiz-bang gun, but that ain't happening. It is actually staked. So I'm going to get a punch. What I'm looking for now is a punch, a thin one, that one. So here's a punch, and I'm going to punch that out the way. Yamaha stake their wheel nuts. I'm hoping I can unstake it. Might have to stick a screwdriver down it. Well, that's that unstaked. Let's see if the whiz bang gun will get it off now. I think that's a no with the whiz bang gun. I think it's just a little bit too tight. That is done up to about £150 per square foot, so it is tight. Gonna do. I need to be going that way, so I need to lock this off. Stand on that and undo that. I'm going to rearrange that, put it like that. Can't come off as easy then. Here we go. Goes. It's an idea at this point, once you've undone the nut, just to give it a tap. As you can see, my CV's not seized up in the hub, so I'm going to leave the nut on for now. I know it's loose. That was tight. I'll leave my punch and my screwdriver there. I don't need them at the moment. Next thing I'm going to remove is my brake caliper. But first I'm going to push the pistons in, and I believe these are 12mm. I'm not guaranteeing it. They're either 12 or 13. They're 13. Now what I'm taking off now is the two mounting bolts for the caliper. They're actually 14mm. Yep. 14, and I need a 3/8 ratchet, which I left down there. Again, I'm just going to crack these now. I'm not going to take them off totally. Alright, there's one, there's another one down the bottom. So them are both loose. I'm now going to remove that 10mm, that 10mm and this 10mm. That one's fastening the brake pipe onto the top wishbone. That's the protector for the CV gator. And they are definitely 10mm. So I'm going on to quarter drive. Always helps if you actually get the correct socket. Definitely 10. The one I was trying to put on there was a 9. I like to put my bolts back into where I've taken them out. That way you know you've got something to go back onto that bolt. But you've always got the other side to reference off, because I'm only taking one side apart. That clip hasn't long been off because there's no grease on the inside of that. So we're not too bad. Has it come off? It's lost its tension. Clip's actually come unclipped. Something's whipped it off. Scrap now that. Got another one of them scraps somewhere. So I'm going to wrap the 2 scrap ones up, put them in old rubber gloves because they're quite dangerous. Put them in the bin. What I'm going to do before I go any further, I'm just going to go in there and clean everything with some brake parts cleaner. Get any grease off, anything that's got it all gunged up in. It's just nicer to work on. Give it a clean. Doesn't do it any harm. Get yourself an old cloth then and give it a wipe off. It gets rid of some of the grease. Just make sure you get protecting your hands with this stuff because it's horrible. Just get the majority of the crap off the wishbone. You're going to need the drive shaft clean because you're going to have to give that a good tugging afterwards, so we'll give that a clean. Clean all the crap off the wishbone. Give that a wipe down there because it's covered in grease. Just makes it nicer to work on. Right, now I've given everything a clean, I'm going to pull the brake caliper and stick it somewhere safe. If you're working with somebody else at this stage, you either need to put a note in the on the steering wheel, please don't push the brake pedal, because this is the stage where you could end up pushing out your pistons. Made that mistake in the past, never going to do that again. Right, cracking next. Pull the split pins now. You're not going to see what I'm doing here. I need to wind out a little bit. I'll move you over. What I'm going for now is a split pin here. There's a split pin on this top ball joint, because I need that out. There's one on the track rod end. We need that one out as well. So I'm just going to go and grab that one. If I can get to it, if it's easy. I can see it. Can't get to it. There's another end to that. Just about see the head of the split pin, so I'm going to go and try and grab it. Gotcha. Next, crack the track rod end, crack the top ball joint. These split pins are sacrificial, don't worry about wrecking them. Chuck new ones in for what they cost. If you haven't, just reuse it, just be careful. You're only going to get 1 or 2 uses out of them. I'm going for the track rod end first. I cannot remember what size these are. Either 17 or 19. You can't see a damn thing I'm doing here, can you? Yep, it's 19mm. 19mm. I don't think it's silly tight, but no, it's not silly tight. sometimes you've got to give these a belt to break the taper. I'll be honest, that one's broken very easily. Whilst you're at it, it's a good time now just to check the gaiters on anything like this. To be honest, there's no splits in this. That feels very good. There's a washer on this one that goes up against the casting from underneath. Again, good idea, just put nuts and bolts back on, keep them safe. Just going to give everything a good wipe down, make sure there's no contamination when I put it back together, clean holes out. Next I'm going for top ball joint. If I remember right, according to the manual, 32mm rings a bell. Something about 32, I don't know what it is, just in my head. And I know somewhere I've got a 32mm spanner. .32. .22mm that nut is. That's the big one. It's not particularly tight. 22 foot-pounds, something like that. It's neither here nor there, because it can't come out. That's all it takes to get them apart, unless you've got a really stubborn one, which is not very often. Now I'm going to take my big nut off all the way, dispose of that, pull the disc, that just comes as a unit. I'm going to put the disc and down there with its washer and its nut. And that comes out of there. Now comes the fun bit. I've now got to pull that axle shaft out of my front differential. I think there's a right way and a wrong way of doing this. I think you've got to pull them really square. I've never pulled a shaft on a YXZ, so I don't know how much of a fight this is going to put up. suspect it's going to put a proper good fight up. Damn it! I didn't want it to do that. You see what it's done? It's left the inner in the CV in the casting. I'm going to have to get behind that and pop that out. I didn't want that to happen. I really didn't want that to happen. That's my worst nightmare. No, that wasn't meant to happen. Guess what? Looks like I'm rebuilding 2 CV shafts tonight. Bollocks. Right. I didn't want that to happen at all. What's happened there is the inner has pulled straight apart. Not good. Let's put the drive shaft somewhere safe. Right, so in there I have to get that inner out. This could be fun. I know what you're meant to be doing this. Somebody's already had a go at this by the looks of things. There's already a big chunk missing out of my axe. I'm not impressed with that coming apart. Biggest, baddest, flattest screwdriver I've got. What a twat. What a bugger. I'm going to get the Jubilee clip off the end of the CV that somebody's put on it at some stage in its life. I'm going to actually replace it with a proper band. I want everything as clean as I can get it. Luckily my CV Gator hasn't torn. And the joint feels very, very good. There's plenty of grease in it, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. All I want to do is get that face clean. I don't want this stuff inside. Let's close my box so I don't get it all inside. Just want as clean as I can get it. Okay. Now, replace said CV boot on said it has a natural position and it's there. There's actually steps in the boot, and the last step here, the big one, actually pushes up flush with the end of the CV joint, and you can see there's a mark all the way round. So that's where it wants to sit. I'm going to put the new clip on there first. I'm going to make a clip up for it now. Change my gloves, and somewhere I have CV clips. I need one of these. I think it'll fall out the bottom. Couldn't do that if I tried. These are clever. In here there's 3 hooks, and the hooks line up with these. So what you've got to do is get your boot, get your gaiter on, and you've got to get this on as tight as you possibly can. This has to be super duper tight. Goes something like that. So I need to size this now roughly. What it'll end up doing is hooking into these. You've got to get them as tight as you possibly can. What I'm going to try and do is keep that hooked up there and get it on. So, gloves. Because this little bit of stainless steel is all that is holding your CV gaiter onto So I've got the band on now to where I think it should be and as tight as I think it should be. Now, my next job is now to work it so I can get the boot and the band all onto that CV joint. I'm going to get comments saying you're not doing it right, you should do it like this, you should do it like that. I think I need to back it off, just one hole. Go. You can go on. I know what I need to be there. I need one more click. think that's all I'm going to get out of it. That's to there, that's to there, that's to there. It's as tight as I can get that click. Okay, I'm happy with that sitting. Everything where it should be, looks like it. See if I can get that any tighter. Okay. I'm not going to get that any tighter than that. Have one more go at clamping and tightening that up so I can get it as tight as is possible. That's tight. That is tight. Okay. Just check your gate is free to move and go through its articulation. That feels okay. To be honest, that was all I wanted to show you tonight. The one that came off. I wasn't expecting the other one to play silly sausages with me. But hey ho, these things are sent to testers, aren't they? I'm not sure if I should give that a tap down or leave it. I'm not sure. I'm going to leave it for now until I get it back onto the YXZ. Right, I'm just going to regroup, sort some tools out, try and get that inner out, unless I slide the plunge joint back together and just put a new clip on it and just, there you go, that's how it's going to be. See what happens. Right, without taking the other drive shaft out, to beat the inner joint out of the diff, I can't get the inner out of the diff. So I've exposed the plunge joint, slid the boot back. I'm going to slide it back together. That ring is the ring that goes over here, that clicks in, that holds it all together. I'll put that in afterwards. For now, I'm just going to slide it all back together. And that's all I can do at the moment. Because it does go back together. Right, it's all together. Now, I'm totally in the way here. Now I've got to get the inner into there. By rights you should take, there we are. I want the nut that holds the bottom ball joint on now. Which I put somewhere safe. I'm going to put it down here. Ah, I know where it is. I'll put it with my 22mm spanner. Let's pull that together. I'm going to tighten this bottom ball joint up. It'll hold everything together for now whilst I put that silly spring back in. That's just to hold it together for the time being. Right. In the plunge joint's gone back together. I've now got to put the spring back in to the shaft. If I just shine the torch up there on the where the diff is, where the shaft's gone in, I've got that big spring to put in now, and that'll hold the plunge joint together. But as per usual, I'll put it down on the floor. I had it in my hand a few minutes ago. There it is. I've got to get that back in. So make sure it's all clean. Yep, it's all clean. I'm going to slide it over the shaft. I'm going to stick it back where it lives. And it lives in here. And it should click in. Because there is a slot for it. Right on the edge here, there's a slot for it. So I need to get that in there. Right, I need to be both sides. So we can pick this suspension up just a little bit. That's where it goes, in there. I actually think that's going to have to wait until I've got some weight on the drive shaft. Because until I've got some weight on this wheel, I can't compress the suspension. I need to push it up a little bit. Right, I'm going to put the rest of the outer together. I'm going to go for a pair of clean gloves. It will go back in. I can't lose the spring now, it's on the shaft. I know where it goes. It goes into the end of the CV joint. Yeah, that spring goes in here. And it clicks. There's actually a groove for it there. So once I've got this lot back together, tighten that top ball joint up, put the split pin back in, track rod end back on, disc hob, tightened all that up, drop it on the floor, compress the suspension, then I can work on that. Access isn't too bad for that. So I'm going to do that. Do it that way round, and then I'm going to have to put a new CV band on the inner. So let's start reassembling. Yes, it's one messy job and plenty of gloves are required. Give spanners a clean. Oh, I need to tap it just a little bit more. I'm not quite... I'm just trying to line up the split pin hole now. I've just gone a little bit too far. We'll get it. A little bit more. Right, I can see the split pin hole now. No, I'm not happy with that. Just come around a little bit more. Not quite there. I'm halfway between. That's it. We're in. Okay. Don't forget your washer when you're putting this one back together. Again, split pin on this one. Don't forget to put them in Because if one of these components decides it's going to come loose, well, you've got no steering. And that could just be a slight disaster. Okay, so we've put top ball joint back on, nut, split pin, track rod end, nut and split pin. I'm actually ready to put the hub back on now, which is down yonder. Good time to have a look at your disc. Make sure it's not scored, damaged, scratched. This one wants a blow off with some brake cleaner before it goes on. Get any grease off it. The last thing you want is a load of grease on your brakes, because that's not going to be fun when you go out. Again, don't forget your washer. And then your big stake nut on the end. I'm just going to draw that on with a 1/2 inch ratchet. For now, I'm not tightening it up at this moment. Again, it's another one of them. Tighten it up once it's on the floor. I've just nipped. Just see if I can sneak that clip in whilst I'm here. Yes, I can. Right, I'm going to go for this silly little clip now. Right, let me get myself in position and snick this in. Well, that was easier than I was expecting. It's gone straight in. Yep, that's gone back together. So, let's slide the gator back up for now. Getting back home. That boot's gone straight back on. Most weird. In that case, I'm going to slide my clip back onto the end of it and I can start reassembling. These Jubilee clips I'm using are Jubilee and they're 7mm. I know there's the potential for these to come loose, but I've never had a Jubilee one come loose. I'm just going to rely on it to hold that gaiter on. Okay, so that gaiter's back on. That gaiter's back on. That gaiter's actually in the wrong place, so let's remove that, put it where it should be. It's gone up just a little bit far, the boot has. I'm just repositioning the inner CV joint at the moment. The gaiter, it's just gone on in the wrong place. Wants to come down the shaft a little bit. I need a bit more slack on that. I know I'm in your way. That's where she wants to be. There is a place that these boots sit. It's quite obvious when you've got the shaft apart how it all goes together. So we've got the inner boot back together, the outer boot together. Shouldn't do it this way. That inner CV should come out of the diff. This one's just very tight, or I wasn't pulling right. But it is doable this way. It's not the recommended way. It's not recommended to pull the inner plunge joint out of the CV and then work on it, but it's just the way this one's worked out. I've done it like this before. I've never had a problem reassembling them. They've always gone back together. But as I say, you should really pull the CV out of the diff. Just this one didn't want to come out, and to be honest, I've got nothing wrong with the other shaft. And I don't really want to pull the other shaft out. Because I don't need to. If I ever have to pull the other shaft out, I will be pulling this one and knocking the inner CV through from the other side to get it out, to get the shaft off again, to rebuild that joint properly. But it's got plenty of grease in it, boots on, clips are on both sides. Suspension's at maximum droop at the moment, so them gaiters are where they should be and they're doing what they should do. So what have we got left to put back on, people? Brake caliper. So that 10mm wants to come out of there, because that's the one that holds the brake hose onto the chassis, onto the wishbone. 2 caliper bolts, which I've got in my hand here. There's no corrosion on them, they've got a bit of anti-seize on them, so we're going to leave them at that. Caliper's safe where I left it. It's not going to come to any harm up there. And I'm just going to slide and try and find the first hole in the caliper to locate it. So that's one nipped up by hand. Let's get the 10 in here now. This only goes on one way. It's quite self-explanatory. There's a little locating tab on the bracket, and there's a little tab on the wishbone. And it all sort of goes together quite nicely. So what do I need? 10mm spanner, quarter drive socket, and it's just a nip. Don't go crazy tight, you don't need to. Don't forget your bottom bolt. And that should locate really easily. Yeah, we were 14mm, and give them a snug up. They're 14mm. Last but not least, I'm going to put the CV boot protector on. I've got intentions of buying the full wishbone protection kit for this, front and rear, because I've seen the state of some of them, and the wishbones get absolutely hammered. But that's a bit further down the line. I know some of the videos are a little bit out of sync at the moment, but it's just the way I'm finding time to do things. Or I've put footage on cameras and I've put the camera down. I've chucked it in the box in the back of the bike. I've just reassembled all the front suspension, drive shafts back in, attached everything, bottom ball joint, top ball joints reattached, tracker and ends reattached, all torqued up, split pins, brake pipe clamps back on there, CV protectors on there, calipers on and tight. All I've got left to do, tighten the 32, stake it and put the wheel back on and drop it back on the floor, and that's job finished. So I'm just going to regroup and tidy up, and that's where we're going next. Right, my setup for tightening this centre nut up, because I'm all on my own tonight, I've got nobody to help me stand on the brakes, is exactly the same as removing it. We're going to be turning the nut down. So I've locked it off with this bar, and I'm going to line up the old stake with the hole in the CV joint. So just gone a little bit further than I wanted, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's a bit tighter than it was before. So out comes the punch. Put my screwdriver back whilst I'm thinking about it. And I'm going to stake that. I'm using the thinnest punch I've got. So other than putting the wheel on, I am staked. I'm going to make sure I haven't done any damage to my wheel nuts. I'm just going to run. Shouldn't have done any damage to any of the threads using a nice flat bar. Because if you've damaged the thread on the studs, now's the time to just run a thread chaser down them. And this should go down by hand. And they all go down by hand. So I'm happy to put the wheel on and say there's no damage. So I want 4 wheel nuts, move all the tools, put all the sockets away. 19mm socket ready. And remount the wheel. I always go diagonal. I want quarter drive, 3/8 drive, long socket. Nip. Nip. That just centres the wheel. If you want to torque them up, torque them up. After you've been playing mechanical things for so long, you know what's tight and what isn't. I'll finish tightening them up once we've got the YXZ on the floor. So I'm going to wind it down onto the floor now. I'm going to go and lie underneath, wind the jack down, the scissor lift down, drop it back on the floor, press the suspension, tighten the wheel nuts up, and that's me done. That's pulling the front drive shaft off on the YXZ. That's it, finished. Other than tidying tools up. That is pulling the front drive shaft, doing the CV gator, rebuilding the inner plunge joint because it wouldn't come out the diff, cracking all the ball joints and reassembling. She's good to go. So what tools did we use? Breaker bar, great big tyre lever for locking off. Yes, we had a hammer. Everybody's got to have a hammer. .22mm cracking the top ball joint. With a couple of extensions, pair of pliers for pulling split pins, impact gun, we used a quarter drive ratchet, 3/8 and a half inch. We used 7mm on the Jubilee clips that are holding the small part of the CV boots on. We used CV joint pliers for crimping the clip. We used a 32mm socket on the big centre nut, 19mm on the wheels, 14mm socket on the track rod end, 14mm on the two caliper bolts, and 10s on CV gator protector and the bracket that holds the brake hose onto the wishbone. So there's not that many tools required. It's a job anybody with mechanical aptitude can actually do themselves. Don't be worried about pulling your side-by-side apart. A lot of the fun of running these things is repairing them, because you're going to break things. They're used in such a harsh environment, things are going to come off, things are going to break. There's no ifs, buts and ands about it. Somewhere along the line you're going to break something. So be prepared. Have a good toolkit. You're not going to get all your tools in one go. You're going to collect them over a long period of time. I've been collecting tools for 30 odd years. I'm still buying tools. You can never have enough tools. The big socket set you see on the floor here, it's actually made, or it's marketed by a company called Halfords in the UK. This is their Halfords Advance range. It's lifetime warranty. Everything in this kit is made by Snap-on. And Halfords have some really good offers on Christmas New Year time, and they do it every year. You'll buy a kit like this for about £100, and I'll be brutally honest, I've had this kit probably 10 years, and because it's in the injection moulded case you can keep track of everything you've got. You take something out, use it, put it back. There's nothing in that kit that wasn't in that kit the day I opened it. I haven't broken any sockets, haven't worn any of the rackets out. Bang for buck, the tools in this box, and the only two things I've added to it are 3/8 to 1/4 adapter and a 1/2 inch to 3/8 adapter. They're the only two items in it that I've added to it. The rest of the kit is as it came, and it runs from 4mm in quarter drive up to 13, and then goes from 9 all the way up to 32mm. And where are we? We go 9 on 3/8 up to 19 on 3/8, and then it jumps to 1/2 inch drive, 20mm, 21, 22, 24, 27, 30, 32. Then they throw in 17mm, 19mm, 21 and a 23mm impact socket. I don't use any of the Imperial sockets, so I'm not going to go through them. And then we run from, where are we? 4mm to 12mm 3/8 long reach sockets. Actually that's quarter, the little one's a quarter. The 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and the 9 1/4 drive, them are 3/4, them are 3/4. And then you get 8, 10, 12, 13, 17, 19 ratcheting spanners, and where are we, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 open end ring. And the kit's absolutely brilliant. As I say, I've had this kit for a long time. Never lost anything, never broken anything. So if you're in Britain, in the UK, and you're looking for a good toolkit, go looking at the Halfords Advance when they have the offers on. It's the best time to buy them. I'll put that lot away tomorrow. I'm not putting it away now. But don't do as I do. Please don't do as I do. I should have taken that inner joint out. I didn't. Like I say, that wasn't the proper way of taking the shaft off a YXZ off the front. In the CV joint should have come out of the diff. This one decided when I give it a tug for the plunge joint to come out. It's not an issue. It'll always go back together. As long as you don't lose any of the balls out of it, then you're reassembling a whole CV joint. Pain in the arse. This one stayed together. The little spring clip came out when I tugged it. That's gone back in nice. Gator's gone back on nice. But all in all, it's a job you can do. You can do it in less time than I've done it in. I'm in no rush. She ain't going out till the weekend. But all in all, I've not come across any jobs on the YXZ yet that aren't impossible for somebody to do. Just go about them logically. Look at the job, see what you've got to take off. Do some research on the internet, ask people questions. If you're not sure, get on the YXZ forum. Somebody's done all of these jobs on there. They're always willing to give advice. They're a great bunch of lads. Find Side by Side blog on YouTube. Doug's got a YXZ. His is a 2016, the yellow one, the special edition. He's done all sorts to that. He's hammered the crap out of it. He's now put a turbo motor in it and he's using it as a drag vehicle. But he hasn't destroyed it yet. They're as tough as old boots. Yamaha build quality, very good build quality. Everything goes back together as it should. Everything fits, everything lines up. Maintenance on them, relatively easy. Don't be scared to do your own work. If you get stuck, go find a mate who's done it. Ask him, he'll give you a hand. But don't be frightened of them. Do not be frightened of your side by side. Don't be frightened to work on it. Anyhow, enough of me tonight. Hope you've enjoyed this. I'm going to have some fun editing it now. And thanks again. Thanks to all the subscribers. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more like this going to be happening over the time I've got the YXZ. I'm going to break other things. I'll bring you along when I do. I'm not scared about breaking things. Part of the fun of owning a side-by-side for me, or motorbikes or quad bikes that I've had in the past. Go out, use them, abuse them. Use them off-road. You're going to break things. You're going to have to fix them. You've got to learn to do it yourself. Because these things ain't cheap to buy. Taking them to Yamaha all the time. If you can afford to do it, let Yamaha fix it. No problems with that. Got no problems with people letting the dealer fix it. But they're all jobs you can do yourself. Like Eric O says on SMA, on South Main Auto, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks very much, and good night.